Welcome to my Fast Learner series, my dear. Here we learn about a topic very fast in a crash course manner. Just like a crash course, but a focused crash course on a certain topic. In this video, we will cover console applications in C#. So greetings and welcome. My name is Alireza Abedini, your instructor for this video. The first thing that needs to be done is creating a console application. I will use the .NET framework and I will provide the link to the repository down below. This is a blank console app project you see here. Console applications are used for displaying logs and so on. They don't have a graphical user interface, but the user interface is also a thing in console applications. And I will explain that later, what I meant by console application user interfaces. First of all, we use console.read key to hold the console and prevent it from closing. So when we run it, the console is held still. It will give it to you and say hello, and again, we get the hello. First of all, here we have the console, and console is a class, and it is a static class. That means I have to access it using the dot. I cannot create an instance from it using the new keyword because it's a static class. For example, if I come here and say class, my class, and make it static, I cannot say my class equals to new my class because it's static. So everything within the console class is statically accessed. First of all, we went for the console.writeLine that we said hello to the user, and then the next thing is the console.readLine. Console.readLine just asks the user for the input. For example, if I say console.writeLine, enter your name, the user can enter their name, for example, Alireza, and then it waits for the key because of the console.read key. When I type Alireza, nothing really happens because this cannot send Alireza to the memory. So that's where we use variables. So we say name Alireza, and then it's on the memory, and then it doesn't exist anymore because we close the program. We get rid of the name on the memory, so the program doesn't have bug of RAM, doesn't leak source stuff, and I will talk about them later as well. So how about I say console.writeLine the name? I will say Alireza, it will say Alireza, and then wait for the key to be pressed. Here, if I say, instead of calling Alireza, just say hello to him. Hello, say hello plus name. It says hello Alireza. I do not like it. How about that? I will use an approach called formatting, and I will get the same result as before. I can pass multiple things. For example, if I have a string str1 equals to foo, and then another string str2 bar, then another string str3 buzz, and so on. How about I say the format where the index is 1, this index is 0, and then I will say string 1, or let's say 2, is this, and the index 2 is the string 1, so on and so forth. So we expect here, if I enter Alireza, we say hello Alireza bar, and then foo. So let's see. Alireza bar foo. Okay, how about I pass the index of 0 After this again, we expect Alireza bar foo Alireza, and exactly as expected. So this is called the string formatting for the console.writeLine. And then here, if I wanna say it again, for example, hello, and I need a better solution. Instead of passing a 0 and then format it, I will use a $sign you see here. It's highlighting it and counting it something else than a string. So I will pass the name right here. It exactly printed it to the console. So this technique we use with $sign and the curly brackets and the variable name directly is called interpolation. The next thing I like to talk about is the console dot, and when we say dot, we will access a broad range of methods and properties of the console class. For example, what I like is the console.title. For example, here after the console.readLine, that we help the console and we freeze everything right here. So after we hit enter, the name variable gets populated, and then we will continue until this read key. We won't have anything, and we say the name is, we use interpolation, the name is, we expect the title to become Alireza, the name is Alireza, and if I say Alireza, look at here, the name is Alireza, the title just changed. So this is a fairly simple but useful sometimes to change the title of your console application. Another thing that is very common in Python is that you might see we have something called the input that we can pass a string to, which is, for example, enter your name, and then we give it a space and a colon, and when the user wants to input, they will get the same string printed out to the console, and then they can enter their name exactly after that. For example, just like this. But Alireza, I see here the name, I have to enter it below. That is because this line is a console.writeLine. How about I change it to a console.write so we don't go to another line, and then I give it a space right here. Did y'all see that? Okay, I put it right here, so you know what I meant exactly. The next topic I like to talk about is the console.read. It gets the first character and returns the ASCII value of the character. If you are familiar with the ASCII table, you know that programs process the characters right here, like in the console or anything like that, using a coding called ASCII for the values, and they process everything using those ASCIIs. If I go to ASCIItable.com, you can see that there are a broad range of characters, and if I see A right here, the capital A is the decimal value of 65. If I enter, for example, H, I expect 72 to be printed on the console, and then say H, 72 on the console. And then the ASCII value is right here, and if I say console.writeLine, something funny, if I write parentheses, open and close them, and say char, and then say character, it will convert the integer character into a real character. So it will print the exact character that we entered. So we say H, so it will print us back the H. Okay, so I create a variable, call it key, and then it's equals to console.read key. How about that? The value of the console.read key, the return type, is console key info. So if I say if key equals to enter, the console key, the key pressed equals to, or let's try something else, escape equals to escape, just console the right line. And then if I say enter, nothing happens. And if I hit enter twice, it will call this one, and then the program closes. How about I say escape? You pressed escape, and you see here the little character. It's for the escape, right? How about that? How about you didn't want the character to be shown on the console? You will pass a true right here, and then the same process goes, and you press escape, and done. How about I just return right here? This return will return the whole void main function. The whole main function will be returned and the program will be done. So if I say escape, the whole program will be closed. If I say console.background color, I can change the console color, which is the value of the background color property of the console. I can populate it using a console color .red, and then the foreground color is the same, but it's for the foreground. Instead of having this at the end of the program, I like to say a console.read key, and then what happens right here is quite fun. Oh, my bad. I have to console.write line something. I call it bye-bye, and you see here, the printed value of the bye-bye is shown on the console, but the background is red and the foreground is green. How about I change the background into, for example, this? You see here, it displays the bye-bye with the background and bye-bye in green. How about I like to clean the console? For example, say hello again. I will say console just clear. You see, the whole console just changed the background and the foreground. If I copy paste this hello again multiple times, you see that when I reach this stage, everything has the same console background, etc. How can I say go back to the same color? After the clear, I will say console.reset color. So if I get to that stage, okay, how about I just say console.background color equals to console color.black and see what happens next. Okay, let's do it before the clear and then give it a before clearing it, let's give it a console.read key. Nope. Righty. We can now copy paste some of these and then come right here and then say, okay, just print. Oh, the fuck. Okay. We just cleared everything. Oh, that's working right now. Okay, now you see the power of the clear and the read key. I don't know what the reset color is doing right here, but I'm sure it should not do something like this. You see the color is not changing back into the original state. How about I just don't give it the reset color and we just have the green? Okay, it's just the same as before. Now proceeding to the next topic, we say console beep. What that even does. Okay, let's go at the beginning, and after we enter the name, we beep. Beep. How about I want multiple beeps. Damn. Did y'all see that? I want to have a thread, and this is not where I want to explain threads to you, but I will explain them in another video. But if I do this, and enter name. Ooh! Damn! Okay, we just terminate the shit, and then I like to remove some of these because I don't like my code base to be ugly. If you search for keyboard interrupts, it is gonna give you something that is for Python. It's a built-in exception when the user interrupts the execution of a program using keyboard action, typically by pressing Ctrl+C. And it's the same. So if I Ctrl+C the thing, for example, I say Alireza and wait for the beeps. And if I say Ctrl+C, it will terminate the program. And if I want to customize the process of the keyboard interrupt, I can say that console.cancel key press. I will say plus equals to a new console cancel event handler, and I can say new console cancel event handler. And when I open and close the parentheses, you can see the parameter required for this constructor is a void type, which receives an object and a console cancel event args and names it as a target. So I will say here console interrupt. This gives me error because this doesn't, if I right click on it and say quick actions and refactoring, generate method console under interrupt, and we scroll down, we see a private static void of this required type has generated. You are trying to interrupt the console. Okay, and when I run it and say Alireza, for example, I want to just skip this step because of the beeps. And if I say Ctrl+C, it will tell me you are trying to interrupt the console. The console won't close. And when I do it again and again and again, nothing happens because this event, the cancel key press, will be fired just once. So if I say Alireza and wait for the beeps, you are trying to interrupt the console. I can do something else. If I want to handle such scenarios, I can say, for example, environment exit with code 0. If I say Alireza and wait for the beeps and say Ctrl+C, nothing really happens. Oh, okay. If I say Alireza, wait for the beeps, and then say Ctrl+C and wait. Okay, this closes the console. So you can customize your console interrupt or so you can customize your console.cancel key press event by your choice, and if you want, you can even tell your user bye-bye. And if I say Alireza, wait for the beeps, and then say Ctrl+C, it will say bye-bye. And now something good that you can use the console cancel key press event is to have a static volatile boolean and call it stop, for example, equals to false. Oh, my bad, true. I will call it run equals to true. I will have a while loop, and I will pass the run variable into it, and then here I will say run is going to be equals to false. So if I go here into the while loop and say console.writeLine, loop is running, and then pass the parameter and then interpolate some variables, I will say datetime.now, and I will say thread.sleep for example, 3 seconds. And if I run it and I say Alireza, we wait for the beeps, and then loop is running, and no matter if I press enter or any other key, doesn't matter. It just waits for me to interrupt the process of loop is running using the Control C. You can see here, it doesn't give me more loop is running and the current date. And if I say, for example, where are we? It should print me this, but it doesn't. Console cancel. Okay, there's a problem right here, and I think it's for the e.cancel. I have to say it's equals to true, and then running should be false. How about I stop and restart and wait for the beeps, and then loop is running, and every 3 seconds it will refresh and say loop is running, and then if I interrupt, it will print the hello Alireza and the bar and foo and so on and so forth. This part of the thing just got interrupted.
4 hours later.
We'll create a new project because it is kind of messy right now. I will call it the console app 3. I will change the names before I provide the source code. Okay, the first thing I like to do is to first hold the console window. Height is equals to 50. The console height is an integer value that when you set the value inside, it should be smaller than or equal to 50. And you can see the height of the thing increase. How about I write a while loop and say while true with a thread sleep of 3 seconds, and I will console.writeLine the value of console.window height. How about that? It's 30. How about that? It's 13. How about this? It's 39. How about this? 49. Okay. I like to say it's equals to 50, which is the maximum value of the window width, height. The next thing is the window width, and the maximum value, according to the exceptions that I got, is the 213 is the maximum value of the width. And here I like to say that it is a tuple and it should print the console.width as well. Okay, how about I maximize it? And you see here it's not even close. How about we say console dot, so we get rid of all of these and say console.read key again. If I say a while true with a thread that sleeps for 3 seconds, and then at console.writelines the value of console.capslock, you see false, false, and when I turn on my caps lock, you will see true. It's good to have such a thing when we have something. For example, here, if I want to check, for example, I have a console.writeLine and I say enter your password, and if I just tell the user a string password is equals to console.readline, and before that, if I want to check for a condition if the console.capslock is true, just say that your caps lock is on. Okay. If I turn on my caps lock, nothing happens because this won't refresh. If I just turn on my caps lock and then run the program, it will check for it and then your caps lock is on. Right now we are talking about password, so let's just get a little advanced in reading the passwords. So I will just generate the method read password, and I will say that the var sb equals to new string builder, and I will use a do while loop. I will explain do while loops in a separate video about loops, but for now just know that do while loops are made to run the code inside them at least once. Okay, I will define a var key equals to console.read key, and I will pass in true as the parameter so we don't load the key that we pressed into the console. So we say if the key.key was not equals to key.backspace, and we copy paste this was not equals to enter. If so, we say sb.append the key character. Then here, if we want, we can just say console.write for better user experience. We say else if the key, let's just paste that back inside, is equals to backspace and sb.length is bigger than 0, we can say sb.remove, the start index is the sb.length minus 1, which points to the last index of the string builder, and we say just one character, and then we say console.write, and we will use a \b for the backspace, and here instead of the condition here we say key, key. Okay, the console key is inside the thing. Let's just get this out and say console key info and say key equals to this, and then key.key is equals to console key.enter, and then at the end, if the user hit enter, just return the SB and turn it into a string before returning it. Okie dokie. How about I enter? Okay, I didn't. Oh, let me just do it again. Oh, what? Okay, what is the problem? How about I just console.writeLine the password, and then here I console.read key. I do this to debug the whole thing. I will say read key, and then here I will say okay, so we know that the okay, just one character, why? Okay, how about oh, okay, good, okay. The condition inside this loop was incorrect. I was saying until it is equals. So it broke out the loop because the key wasn't equals to enter. That's the thing that we have to keep in mind. Until it's not enter, just keep going. Okay, let's test it again and, for example, say Alireza. How about that? And easy as that. Okay, or let's just test something else, Alireza, and then what? Why did this, okay, the actual value is removed, but we just move the cursor back and then replace the whole characters in the console. That's something I think is with this one. If I put another \b, it has to work. If I say Alireza and then alright, okay, why the heck is that showing me this? Okay. Oh, it's working good. Okay, it's working correctly right now, and you have to put two \b's and give it a space between them in a console.write, so it will just go back and will just remove the asterisks as well. Okay, and sometimes you might see in Linux operating systems that you just cannot see anything. For example, you say Alireza and nothing prints out to the console until you hit enter, and it will process the whole thing after that. Okay, now the password project of ours is done. Let's just go and continue our journey on the console applications, how they work. Okay, I told you about background beep and buffer height and weight. Better not to touch them, at least for now. Let's just skip them. How about the console cursor left? If I enter something, how about I give it a value of 10? Okay, did y'all see? The cursor starts at the 10th position. How about I say 100? I'm sure it's more than the buffer. And okay, you see that? How about I put this before I print the password? You see, for example, I enter something goofy, and you see here it's in the middle of the console right now. And how about I say console dot cursor top, and I say 1. It will write on the same line as this line. I expect it. Okay, that's correct. How about I say 10? I'm sure it will be the 10th line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It will be this line right here. I will put my cursor right here so we don't miss the thing. Oh, nope, it's not. How about I give it a minus? Oh, my bad. I have to put it right here. Put the 10 right here. And as I said, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, my bad. Right here. And we say this. And you see, my cursor was at the exact line that the goofy text printed out to the console. Huge. We are now able to control where the position of the text can be printed to the console. How about we go back? For example, I say console.writeLine hello before I want to print my password, and I will say 10, but here I will say 2. How about that? Okay, you see here, first we print out hello because we came all the way back right here, positioned our cursor right here, and then wrote it. So how about I want to position my cursor in some other way? I will say console.set cursor position 0, 0, but not 0, 0. I will say 10, 10. It will go on the line 10 and the column of the index 10. You can see it. It's on the 10th line, and if I want to enter some console.read, for example, if I enter some goofy password, here I can enter anything, and if I keep going, it will overlap with the goofy text that we entered as password, and it will overwrite all of them. And you see here, I will use zeros to demonstrate. You see, all of them are gone now, and if I remove it, nothing will come back. You see, now if I want to explain to you what the values of the set cursor and also the cursor top and cursor left, just say these are the two borders. This here is going to be the left. How can I enlarge the text? Okay, we could see. Oh, no. Here we have two borders, and this is the left, the same as the x-axis, if we wanna use axis, and this is gonna be the top or the y-axis. So if we go to left, we increase the left value, we will increase this side, and if we increase the top, we will go all the way down in the console. The cursor will just go down and to the right of the console. Okay, now if I want to say console dot cursor size, if I want to set it right here, the caps lock is on, so I will just turn it off and I will say some goofy things, and the cursor size is something that makes it more visible to the eye, I think. And if I just interrupt it and say 1000, for example, okay, it's too big. It's too big. It should be between 1 and 100. And if I say 1, okay, it's not that big of a deal, but it's nothing to care about too much. And if I say console, cursor visible, I like to say this before the password. So you see here, the cursor is visible, and also the cursor is visible because the cursor visibility is true. So we say false. How about that? You see, the cursor is invisible right now. And if I say this and enter, and we see the goofy text, we enter here a goofy text, and you see that the cursor is invisible. Okay, let's get a little more advanced in C# console applications. I have a console application, a blank console application right in front of me, and if I want to show you what's going on, I have to first hold the console, and then you see this is the console we get. Right here, we learned about changing the appearance of the console applications, like the title of console applications, like the height and the width of the console applications. We learn about foreground color, background color, and these are all about appearance of your console and controlling the cursor of the console. Now I close this console and I will console.writeLine something called the buffer, and I will use the interpolation to just print out the console dot buffer width x console dot buffer height. You can see your standard output in there. If I want to tell you this is the width, how about I say \n\t. This is the width of the console. Again, \n\t. This width means the columns, and the height means the line count. You can see that the width means the columns. You can have 120 columns right here, and also 9001 lines you can write. Okay, how about I say console.height, window height, window width equals to, for example, 300 to 13. You can see the width became 213. You can see that the width of the buffer, the columns you can write, became 213. If I change it to 180, you can see the columns became 180. Right now, if I say console.bufferWidth equal to 213 as well, but the actual width of the window is just 118. That means the buffer width is going to be more than this. And I want to make the window even smaller, for example, 50. If I run, nothing really changes. I can make it less, for example, 20. You can see that the text goes outside the boundaries of the window, and I have to pull the window like this so I can read it. It won't come down. You see, when I run it again, you actually see that the width value of the buffer won't come down right here and continue. That means no matter how much your window size is, the buffer is where your standard output will be displayed. I'm sure this is not something you want to touch, but as a matter of fact, this is a comprehensive course about console applications, so I have to cover this. Now let us talk about the height of the buffer. If I say console.window height is equals to 100, let's see if I get error. Yes, it shouldn't be 500. Something I like to talk about is that the buffer should not be smaller than the window size. For example, if I put 213, I cannot say 200, for example, in the buffer width. It will give me error because the width cannot be greater than or equal to the value of the window width. You can see it will give me the exception argument out of range exception. The console buffer size must not be less than the current size and position of the console, nor greater than or equal to the int16 max value. The max value is the max value of the int16 type, which is the short data type, is a 65535, which is a 16-bit value type, or 2 bytes. Let's terminate the application and just set the buffer width to the same as window width. The application works good and no errors, no exceptions, and so on. Now let us talk about the window height. For example, I put it equal to 20 and no errors. You can see, let's just get this back to, for example, 100. Okay, let's just print this after that again, and also put a console.read key so we can separate them as well. You see, the height of the window just changed, but the buffer height is the same. Now, how about I also say console.bufferHeight is equals to 9005, for example. You see the 9005. How about I put 100? I'm sure this will give me error, but we check and nope, it won't. I'm sure if I put it on 100, this will give me error. Nope, it shouldn't give me error. And I think that was it for today's video around the topic of console applications. And we even talked about some aspects of console applications that you wouldn't even stumble upon. I'm sure in your whole entire life you won't stumble upon buffer height and so on. But the whole concept was about giving you an overview of what console applications are and how they operate. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you in the next one.